go with an application fee and our application that we've been filling out with the returns of the address forms that have gone out to the 1,000 foot. Probably the minutes of this meeting will go in with that, and then we will be scheduled for a planning and zoning. In that application will be the plans that were not submitted last time, and that's where the fail point was. We do have plans. Those plans are to be checked by the county, and then they will give us, their yays and nays, a list of things that we need to add or delete, and to the specifications of an A3 building. So
you should also remember, this is a town with talented people. When the time comes to start putting out feelers for how much this is going to cost, bring it before the town first, and you may have people who can do it for a reduced fee because it's being done in their backyard.
exactly, yeah, those are all things that's what it was built on. I mean, the people that were there pounding nails and putting it together, that's who put it together.
Right.
So that will go out. That committee that we form will be of some of those people, and they'll be the ones that will be able to contact the others to get, as you guys did, pour some concrete out here. People know people. We can build it, we just gotta make sure that it's under the regulations of the county. So we can't just go out and start erecting structures and doing that stuff. It all has to be done by licensed contractors. But within that, we have a lot of people that can help. So I know we can get it done because we've done it before. So that's not the big deal. The big deal is we're at a starting point right now, a second starting point, and I apologize for the first one falling through. And we move forward and we get this thing done so we can get people back in that building.
Could I interrupt you just a moment?
Yes.
Mr. Brown, will us forming a committee help us get that building back?
Maybe.
Can you elaborate?
We don't have the building, they have the building. All they have to do is bring, do what they have to do under county ordinances, that's it.
One of the hurdles that we came across was miscommunications because I believe possibly there wasn't obviously enough talk and a committee that can be talked to. And then there was the parking lot issue. The parking lot, the parking spaces, and the parking area. 3 different definitions of different things. And when it came to the superintendents looking at it, they were saying that you have something you told the Paulden Paco this day, and you're not following through with it here. How come there's a discrepancy? And there were a line of individuals, some in this building, that were standing right there saying we're doing different than what we said. So we're not going to let that happen again. So obviously, the committee will allow us to present one voice, and that's what they're looking for.
When do you want to have a meeting, and when do you want the committee to be formed?
Well, we have to figure out how to form a committee first and who's going to be on it. So that's all. And not just the people in this room are ones that we got to get the word out and get that. We are going to be going Monday to do that application. The planning and zoning does not meet until October, I believe is the next time. So we have that amount of time to get this together before it can even go to planning and zoning. And that's if our application is put together correctly. So if you would like, and Paco, to get a list of people to figure this.
And I'll be glad to
Amen.
be on a,
All right,
I mean,
George?
I just live.
Is there an application to be part of the committee? And you said there's a fee?
No, I want to know how you guys want to do it. Do you want one person out of each groups or it doesn't matter how we do it. I just want to be able to go to a group or have someone call me and say, where are we at? Or I call them and say, hey, we just had a meeting, or we're having a meeting this date. I need one of your representatives out of the committee to come by so that we can figure out what we're doing. And, so there's more people involved than what was us and them. We don't need us and them. There is no us and them. I've lived here as long as, most of you guys. So there's no us and them. So we need to get it together so that when we go to present these things, we're all on the same page. We're all one voice and we know what we're talking about because we got together and talked about it earlier.
Jeff will get you more than 1 or 2 people.
Sounds like this is going to be our committee here, so, but and then we can narrow it down to making you know, the subcommittees of construction, of concrete, of building, of sheetrock. We have a list, you know, we know who does stuff in this area and we can get it done. So getting it done is gonna be the easy part. It's getting through this first process so that we get the approval to do what we need to do.
Well, I'm personally am tired of not knowing what's going on. And the only way any of you can know what's going on is to step up and become part of this committee.
Absolutely.
How,
Yes.
how are you situated financially right now?
Oh, I'm sorry, let's get the gentleman that stood up there for 1 second and then.
Well, you almost stole my thunder. That was one of my questions. You have the finances to carry through with this project, and what do you estimate the project to cost?
We estimated the project last time to cost roughly, I think, $42,000. And right now, we don't have that, but we have access to funds, we have access, I have talked, you know, with Paul Mitchell. Is Paul here this? Okay, he has many different avenues for us to obtain loans possibly in those, because the tower's got to pay for it. You know, we talked once before about holding fundraisers and whatnot. I don't want the people here to take the money out of their pocket to do this. You know, if we can figure it out, that money needs to go other places. It needs to go to the churches. It needs to go to PACO. It needs to go to that. We have a tower that we could possibly do loans with. We have other avenues to get those monies. And depending on a time frame that the committee puts together on, you know, what do we start off with? Do we start off with the 2 handicap spots and get a time frame, as we did before, that within a year we're going to have the other 13 spaces, that within this we're going to have that and the other thing. Those were the communication problems that weren't relayed correctly to the supervisors and what had gotten this thing, mostly what got it shut down. So funds currently right now, we have about $15,000. We're going to be spending $1,100 Monday on the fees for the permit application, which we had done already one time. You know, that money's going to be going away, and we have to figure out where the rest of it's going to come from.
I think the committee is a great idea to work with you, but I think you should go one step further and take 1 or 2 people from the community and put them on your board of directors so they can really be involved in what's going on behind the scenes, the funding and what's coming in, what's going out, and make things happen. Committees are okay, but they don't have the power that your board of directors will have if you put 1 or 2 people on there. So how, are you open to that?
I am open to that. We will check on that necessity. I know where you're coming from with that, as having, but we do have all of our records are open to the public. We have the things necessary to run the board. If you think people on the board are a necessity and can make those kinds of changes, then that's something that we can look at.
So you're gonna look at it, but you can't tell us you can.
I can't tell you, it's a board. I can't tell you, there's other people involved that vote. So,
There's 3 members to your board, as I understand it.
okay.
When do you meet next?
Anytime we put together, we have to meet quarterly. So if we can meet tomorrow, if necessary, we can meet when the committee meets.
Well, I think it'd be necessary that you do it as quickly as possible, if you're gonna do it. Put some people on your board, so
Yeah,
we know.
it's very simple running this fire department because there was only a certain amount of monies coming in, and all they were doing was paying the bills. You know, it's not rocket science as to what's going on with those kinds of things. So that's not a huge concern with the board. You know, you're going to pay the bills to keep the water on and to pay the gas and all that. That's what you do. You pay the guy to come over and mow the lawn. And so it's not, there isn't any small things, you know, that is about rushing this thing. It's not running a huge business.
Well, no, I understand that, but it's more than just paying the bills. It's doing what should have been done the last couple of years, getting these permits taken care of, doing what the county wants you to do, keep following through and doing it, which hasn't been happening.
Well, it's been in the works. There was also a time delays that to make those things happen.
Well, it's been in the works. You paid the fee one time and you let it lapse because you didn't follow through on it.
Well, because the following through, yes, I understand.
If we had somebody on the board of directors with you folks, we would know what's going on. we're depending on you to tell us, and I gotta tell you, not much has happened from the last meeting you were here, the last two meetings.
Well, it has, we have plans now, we have another application in process. I mean, we're exactly where we need to be, so yes, some stuff has happened.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, but can you come up with any kind of a time frame for the folks here that we might have that?
I just told you, no, I can't, because October is the next time that we can even get a planning and zoning. After planning and zoning, they move us on to the board of supervisors. That could be another month, depending on when they look at all the information and move it on. So you're talking about November now, you're talking about December before,
Well,
you know, I can't give you a date on when this, because it all depends on the
Well,
flow.
if you can just assure us that you'll continue with the follow-through this time. We've got the supervisor here, we've got the planning coordinator fellow here. Maybe they can tell us if they'll do anything for us to help push this through so it won't sit on somebody's desk. Well, yeah, I've dealt with Steve before and it's never been a problem.
We have also, it's never been a problem. It has not been a problem. The problem was that the fault was mine, and I've said that before, so.
Okay, well, I'd like to follow up with you later about these.
I had
some
a,
people on the board.
I also had a set of plans that I was trying to submit, but weren't to the requirements as necessary. So there was a time delay in a set of plans being proposed that were told, no, we're not gonna look at those. You need an architect engineered set of plans for this kind of construction, which there is no, you know, true architecture developed, you know, in this reconstruction. So we had to put out another, you know, $4,500
Well, I
for a set of
understand.
engineered plans.
I understand that, and this construction, I'm sure, is not your expertise, you're a fireman. And
I,
that's
yep,
great.
am now.
And that's why I think if you could bring some people from the community onto your board, together with the committee, they can help you. And then we can get this thing over.
I agree.
Okay, thank you.
We had one back.
No, that was some of my concern too, is if we've made any progress from the last meeting. You explained that.
Yes, sir.
When was this building built?
In 97, 98,
So it was illegal in 97 and 98.
to be a fire station, not an assembly.
When was it illegal to be an assembly?
The entire time. Would have been if
Talk
you,
about this all this time then.
well, because it was never gonna be a community center.
But it
At that
was.
time-
At one time it was one, it became one.
Well, it didn't become one because you need certain requirements to become that. It was used as one because it was the only building available that the community wanted. Hey, can we hold a meeting there? Sure, come on in.
Okay, but it was illegal at that time.
It could have possibly been illegal at that, you know, it was a fire station, so at that time, fire stations are the hub of the community. That's where multiple times, the fire station and the people involved were trying to form a town out of Paulden through that fire station. So that's where the hub of a lot of towns start from. And yes, like you're saying, it could have been that we held meetings and all the things that we've been doing in there correctly. We were allowed to, by the county, to hold meetings there with our special use permit. And that special use permit is now canceled.
What all of a sudden changed? What changed?
What changed is that we no longer were doing any fire service out of there. So now that you're not doing the number one thing that was on the thing, you know, you were gonna be fire, you're not doing anything fire. For a number of years, Chino Valley Fire put apparatus in that building, so we were still doing fire suppression out of that building, so it was allowed to continue. And then when that was no longer continued, we are not doing any fire suppression, you cannot be a fire station. You need to change your use permit. So 2014, we needed to change our use permit. So that's where we're at, that's when it changed, so. And it's all requirements, it's safety of the public being in there if it's not properly equipped, you know, so there are things that need to take place to turn that into an A3.
I just wanted to tell you, I've got to leave. It's not because I'm not enjoying what you're saying, but I do want to be on that committee.
All right, I'll probably, you know, much to the president's, you know, demise here, putting him in charge of talking to people about a committee.
Okay.
So, I mean, everyone had my phone number and my email, they didn't want to use it. Evidently, that you don't want to talk to me because it was available to everybody, so it's in the phone book. My name's still in the phone book, so
Well, I'm a big believer that if we want anything, we've got to get out and do it.
gotta get out
So
and
if you
do
need
it.
somebody on your board, I'll be glad to be on.
All right, well, we're wrapping this up, and I'm glad, to get out what we talked about, and I'm glad that people want to be on this committee, and that's what it's all about, so we can put this together and get that building opened again. So, one last?
Yeah, one last. We're all just guessing, I think you're guessing as far as the time frame. From my own benefit, maybe theirs as well. I can't see how you do it less than 2 years, may take up to 3 or 4. Does that sound in the ballpark?
I think sooner than that. As soon as that building is A3 qualified, we can request that they release it for meetings. I mean, when we get things done that they want to get done, and it's how the committee puts it together in a time frame. If we have our handicap spots, if we have the fire sheetrock up, if we have, what's necessary to allow people back in that building, we put together, our petition, and we ask them to let us back in the building. As long as it's safe for people to be in it, we could be in it while other stuff might be going on. And that's all dependent on what we have completed and what's necessary to allow people back in the building.
Did you not say that you have a meeting Monday?
Monday, we are putting in our application.
I would say that after the meeting, you let people know exactly what happened on that.
And that meeting will probably be signing a check and handing in our application, and they'll say thank you. We will call you after they look through and make sure everything's in that packet.
And you should keep us informed on each step.
And I will-
Us meaning all involved.
Yeah, and I don't have all your phone numbers, but, that's why we're gonna have a committee put together so that we can get this information out and it gets dispersed.
Jerry, don't you all have an email thing?
Jeff, just put it on Facebook.
Get on the, and that can be done too, so. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Let Paco know about this and come to the Paco meeting so that communication can be relayed.
Yeah, and if there were any changes, I would have been at the PACO meetings until the changes we just put into effect, having our plans back, having our packet ready, having our mailings out. Those are all things that took place, and that's why we're here at this meeting.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Jeff and I had a discussion over the phone, we were talking about communication, and there was he was trying to communicate me, and he sent emails, and it kept going someplace to a website, someplace or another, and so I gave him my own